Hello everyone, CPAT here with another Exceed commentary, and our OBS is not broken now. So yeah, like I said, back with another Exceed commentary. This is the Dream Match Tournament. We have reached the semifinals of the Dream Match Tournament. In fact, one of the semifinals was between Chica and J2SO. You can check that out on the channel. That has been completed as of 5 days or so. And this is the second semifinal between MiX, of course, who was a lot of people's favorite. It was my favorite to win the whole thing against Fakey. Now, I'm actually a little bit shocked by the character select screen because I wanted to see... I didn't want to see this. I don't think anyone wants to see this, but I expected, that's the correct word, expected to see the Mei Lien mirror come out. Both these competitors are rocking the Mei Lien in their rosters, and this little demon girl thing, she's more than a menace. But no, it looks like we're gonna have Fakey rocking the Propeller Knight against the Mei Lien, which should be an interesting matchup, just because Mei Lien's not really a fair character, and Propeller's kind of the definition of fair. I'd say Propeller's like one of the most fair, honest characters in the game, even against Mei Lien, who's very much not. So this should definitely be an interesting one here. So Fakey boosting the light and Mei Lien boosting the power. Now Mei Lien, of course, has an option like Fujin Drum here. EX Fujin Drum would be speed 6. However, Fakey is representing like a speed 7 option in theory with Headwind. Could also be mixing it up with a Cannonball or something. And of course also has the sweep-like Propeller Pull. So Mei Lien boosting power into the light is actually interesting, because Propeller still does have a little bit of a mix-up here. Of course, Mei Lien can opt to play like a fast or slow here. I'm not missing anything, right? It has been a while since I've casted. So I just want to make sure I'm not missing any options from the Mei Lien. Looks like tech coming out on both sides, interestingly enough. Okay, back to the neutral. Here comes the Private Reserve. And the second tech coming out, so mix with that EX dive in hand. Of course, that dive would have had extra range on it, the second copy, because of Mei Lien's UA. But not the case anymore, as Mei Lien discards EX dive to counter the double sweep coming in. Of course, Propeller has that Private Reserve, so he can boost sweep more times than the average character. But that's gone. Now Fakey decides, okay, not range 4 anymore, not really liking where I'm standing, gonna boost my way into range 1. Of course, Mei Lien does have that range 4 option in Fujin Drum, which is a 5-speeder, so opts that for that. In return, Mei Lien boosts Lightning Strike twice, return this attack to your hand, put this card to engage. Just a really good boost. Recursion is always good in Exceed when you can recur your best options. As Fakey in turn boosts a fierce +2 power, so a lot of early game maneuvering, jockeying for position here. I don't expect MiX to strike into this. Of course, Mei Lien does have a speed 8 option in Raijin Knife, which beats kind of everything, but Propeller actually has 2 options to beat this, in Propeller Pull and of course the Focus, interestingly enough. Not very many characters have like the range 4 sweep that's required to beat, or the range 4 sweep-like, I guess, that is required to beat the Raijin Knife at range 1 for Mei Lien. Notably... Okay, never mind, I was about to say. The third card in here is just the Grasp that we saw earlier. It doesn't really matter for range 1, but just a reminder for Mei Lien's UA. And this will play more as we reach the crescendo of the game. But when cards are in discard, that second copy of Mei Lien's has either extra range if it's a discard, or extra gauge, or extra power if it's engage. That +2 power actually has MiX thinking a little bit. He's taking his time here. Up until now, there's just pretty standard neutral play going on, but yeah, MiX taking his time here on this turn, facing that +2 power. Obviously does have the mix-up potential because of that Raijin Knife just existing as a card. But no, Mei Lien actually going to be boosting Raijin Oath for Falling Star Wish. Search your deck for a card and put it on top of your deck in your gauge or in your discard. Of course, MiX just going to opt to put it in his hand, I'm assuming. And then, of course, he draws it at the end of his turn. Back to Fakey. Like I said, when we first casted... an EX coming out from Propeller. This could be a decent amount of options here. Could be fast or slow, could be like a swoop, could be slow like EX, or it's not EX sweep, it's slow like an EX propeller pull. MiX just taking a look at what cards are in there instead of searching for it. Good tech there. Don't really... Fakey, of course, also using the Season 4 normals, trying to obfuscate his options. Smart man. It's going to be an EX Ratchet Knife. No, EX Focus coming out from MiX. Against the EX Propeller Pull, very well called out. That Propeller Pull will not be able to pull. Will only do 7. Will only have 7 power as opposed to the 9 power it was representing with the before pull 2. So just an even trade coming out here. Of course, Focus will draw a card and return to hand for MiX here. So maybe a reading coming out here from Mei Lien as well is an option, although only 4 cards in hand. Just a reading to get rid of the no normal wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, that EX Propeller Pull, just a very good option, but called out perfectly by that EX Focus. Of course, it was an EX Focus, so pretty decent amount of resources spent, although that second Focus will have extra range on it if he chooses to play it like so. But yeah, I mean, that Propeller Pull was... That was a threat that was going to do 9 damage. Just like a parry Focus coming out, I'm assuming, from MiX. Just so that Focus option stays in hand. We see a hand of EX Assault, Dive, and Swoop. We now see that Fakey will almost assuredly have to change cards 3. Just because... Unfortunately, we'll lose that EX Assault. But, I mean, change cards 3 is just very necessary here, I think. And maybe Fakey opts... Oh, interesting. Fakey actually opts to not change cards 3. He chooses to keep the EX Assault and moves to range 3. MiX can, in theory, punish this by reading Assault and playing Halberdier. Of course, Halberdier is the shape that just beats Assaults and Dives with the passive text opponents cannot move closer to you. So I'm assuming if MiX has Focus in... well, I'm assuming MiX doesn't even have the Halberdier, because otherwise that reading Assault into the Halberdier would have come out by now. But no. Interestingly enough, that Fakey decided to keep that in hand. Very risky. Because Halberdier is just such a good card for Mei Lien. Okay, weird. We have Mei Lien moved back to range 5 now. This threatens something like a reading Assault into like a sweep or something. So yeah, I mean, Fakey's going to have to move in 2 spaces, I'm assuming. There's no way you let this read. Oh, wow. Fakey lets it go through. The prepare action coming in. Surely this is going to be a reading into... Surely this is going to be a reading Assault into sweep. Wonder what's going on in Fakey's head, keeping that EX Assault in hand. Unless did that reading drop and I just missed it? Surely that... surely not, because the Focus, of course, came back to hand with Lightning Strikes twice, returning your attack to a hand and put this to attack put this card in your gauge. So yeah, Fakey just lighting this rock. Surely this is just like a reading Assault coming out into something, anything. Surely MiX has an option. And I'm assuming you just move back to range 5 so you can hit with a sweep afterward. But maybe I'm just misreading the situation here a little bit. It's shocking to me that, yeah, it looks like MiX just doesn't have an option to punish Assault at range 5. Weird. And Fakey, with his own reading, reads the Focus into the Cannonball. Wow, what is happening? Moves back to range 3, where that EX Assault is such a dominant option. Wow, I guess MiX just didn't have... That's so weird. MiX just couldn't find an option to punish that EX Assault until it was too late. Wow. As Defend comes out from MiX. Okay, I was about to say, did MiX draw for end of turn? He did not, but now he has. Wow, that's... And that EX Assault is now going to be Fierce boosted, looks like. So that EX Assault will have a good amount of power behind that. 7 power, of course. Granted, with the Defend, MiX can use some... MiX can trade up as well, a little bit. MiX doesn't really have any slows, of course, but no slows in this kit. But of course, you know, can just trade with the customary sweep. Focuses are down for Mei Lien at this point. Wow, that's such a rough start for Mei Lien, actually. That's really rough. Just unable to punish that assault, and then Fakey just draws the focus before he can. Like no halberdier at range 3, no sweep at range 5. Kind of makes me wonder like what the purpose of moving to range 5 was if there was no if there's no option. Maybe just kind of force Fakey to spend force to move in, because Fakey did have less force in his hand than Mei Lien at that point in time. But yeah, a little bit unfortunate there for the Mei Lien side, and Fakey doing a good job of punishing that focus. Anyways, back to Mei Lien here, who's facing the threat of EX Assault, of course. Looks like MiX is just trying to hope that he finds a halberdier at some point, right? Fakey claiming that he forgot to draw off focus. Why would he have drawn off focus? You mean Cannonball? I didn't even know that card. That draws a card. Oh, I see. Okay. I did not even catch that. But so yeah, when that reading happened, of course, Cannonball does ignore armor, but it was only a 4-power Cannonball, so the 5 guard at focus was not stunned. Which is what they're pointing out there. Looks like they've resolved the game state. MiX back up to 7 cards. It is still his turn, I believe. So yeah, that was not a CC0 coming out or a prep. That was just MiX drawing a card off the focus. Back to him, of course. And looks like Mei Lien boosts run. Gonna take that center square as opposed to the square right in front of Propeller. Boosting to range 1 with that defend in play against the +2 power represented by Propeller here. Back to Propeller, who has known EX Assault in hand alongside 2 random cards. Probably just a prepare. Yeah, prepare action coming there from Fakey. Back to MiX, who still has that full hand. Can in theory like strike with the EX Propeller pull down. That was the option to the Raijin knife that Mei Lien can throw. So Mei Lien has a really free Raijin knife to kind of quote unquote tech the Fierce if he chooses to play it like so. There's only 1 focus left in Fakey's deck, and yeah, MiX actually gonna opt for the strike here. It's just gonna be blocked, and yeah, it is that Raijin knife that we called out. Only 1 option left in Fakey's deck that dealt with that, which was the 2nd copy of Focus. Block will be put into the gauge for free, but Propeller will find himself back at range 4. Lacking some of those range 4 options now with that EX Propeller pull down. Interestingly enough, yeah, I mean, Fakey initiated with that EX Propeller pull. But now that option no longer exists, so the 2nd Raijin knife will be just as free as the first one. Anyway, back to Fakey. He finds himself at range 4. Opting to strike here, so this could be like a dive, this could be a speed 5 headwind, this could be, of course, the speed 7 launcher, 457. Fakey does also like to mix things up a bit. We saw that in our last cast of him. Could even be playing, could be mixing something up here with the launcher. Doesn't have the slow with Propeller pull, but can mix things up. Can even swing with a full broadside in theory. Which would be what, 8 power, pretty good. Unfortunately, Mei Lien has that that range dodge and Dragon Thrash, of course. Just Mei Lien things. Attacks at range 3 do not hit you, and so yeah, we're at the end of the strike. Nice try, trying to hit that that launcher, but unfortunately, without that Propeller pull, this Dragon Thrash is pretty free against Mei Lien, against Fakey, against Propeller's range 4 options. Looks like a prep coming out here. Mei Lien now boosting Fierce. Doesn't have the 3 gauge yet for Raijin Oath, but representing threats like Fujin Drum here. I actually believe that's it. Oh, actually, no. 1 tricky threat is being represented here is Spike. So 1 Spike is down from the defend boost. EX Assault, also just a random option. EX Assault, of course, speed 6. When that copy hits the discard, the second copy will have +1 range. Very fair and balanced gameplay. Propeller will take 5 off that EX Assault, popping the headwind. Nicely done. Of course, that EX Assault was played on defense, I believe. Fakey initiated again at range 4, which is a little bit risky behavior, especially against some Mei Lien. But at the very least, that EX Assault is now gone until reshuffle. Although maybe a reshuffle is happening kind of soon. 3 gauge means a threat like Raijin Knife, Raijin Oath would be up at range 4. Instead, MiX opts to boost Light at range 2. Back to Fakey. I believe there's a cross left in deck. EX Halberdier is left in the deck, which is kind of a big deal. Just like randomly beats a lot of options, although less options. Maybe EX Halberdier would be better played at range 3, but still an option there. Fakey boosts Defend. Back to MiX here, who's checking his own discards to see, hey, what cards give me extra range? Just a prepare action. MiX, of course, really, I like MiX's playstyle a lot. He just says if I had the advantage, I'm just gonna sit there and prep. I really like that. The focus gets parried. Second focus down from Fakey, who immediately opts to reshuffle here. So all those good options will be going back into the deck. That EX Propeller pull, that EX Focus that we were talking about, that both beat the Raijin Knife. That's Mei Lien throws. Fakey says, that's enough. I'm going to take the reshuffle action, get those options live again. I think this is a perfect time to take that reshuffle action as well. And MiX actually just noting what options he hasn't seen yet. He hasn't seen one copy of each Ultra, of course. One copy of Private Reserve was boosted. One copy of Launcher was dodged. And EX threats that he thinks are legitimate are EX Saber and EX Swoop. And of course the great EX Assault has just been sitting in hand from Fakey for ages now. Just unable to find a good time to play it. I'm assuming Mei Lien will read that at some point, but can't really do it so well here with the Defend in play, giving that EX Assault 6 total defenses. So yeah, Fakey just perfectly content just sitting with that EX Assault in hand, funnily enough. Wonder if MiX is thinking, well, although he has a Light in play, I was kind of thinking that MiX would just kind of initiate with Cross at some point. Just get himself some room, move back to range 5, where Propeller may or may not feel compelled to move in. So I'm interested to see why Mei Lien is finding herself at range 2 for this whole time, where that +2 speed isn't doing a whole lot. So yeah, I'm kind of interested to see what's going on there. Life totals are still very even, but I have a feeling that we're going to see some explosive combat turns come out in the near future. MiX playing this quite passively though, with that +2 speed. Boosting Tempestuous, switch your discard and deck, and then shuffle your deck, interestingly enough. So the 4 options left in deck will now be available for Mei Lien's UA, which is so strange. And the options are Halberdier, Sweep, Cross, and Raijin Knife. So the hand is known. The hand is Dragon Tempest, Halberdier, Raijin Oath, Cloud Rider, and Spike. So that speed, there is a speed 8 option there, but it was not the Cross. So that's why MiX didn't strike. This boost, I've never seen it before, but apparently Mei Lien just can't die to deck out ever, which is cool, I guess. Cool that Mei Lien also gets that property. Yeah, weird. Maybe is Fakey just thinking about striking with that EX Assault now that he's seen that hand? Looks like that's the case. That EX Assault is looking pretty decent against that hand, all things considered. Unless MiX is, of course, drawing something random off the top that will pop that EX Assault, but I can't really think of a card that would. Oh, actually, wait, that Halberdier exists. is Fakey striking with EX Assault into the Halberdier? Maybe this is a different EX than what we were thinking then. Because we saw the Halberdier in hand. Halberdier obviously prevents EX Assault from hitting with the opponents kind of move closer to you. So this is probably a different EX, right? It is. It is EX Saber Launch at speed 8. Obviously, you cannot advance 4 with this, but it'll have 3 power and it pops the Halberdier. That's so funny. And now the EX Assault comes in. MiX is drawing the focus at least. So this will be what, even trade 3 for 3. MiX draws a card. Fakey's advantage. The EX Saber Launch. That's so goofy. What a weird option to just randomly pop the Halberdier, which found itself with no defenses as MiX boosts defend at range 1 after Fakey preps. Back to Fakey, and yeah, it was a bait. We just couldn't probably identify what that bait was. But that EX Saber Launch at speed 7, just enough to beat the light boosted Halberdier at range 7. What a funny interaction there. Well spotted from Fakey especially. Anyway, back to Fakey here, who finds himself kind of in the corner. I feel like if he's playing Swoop, that feels really obvious. Like Swoop is like the obvious gameplay, right? Gets yourself out of the corner. It's a 4 damage Swoop. And yeah, it is the Swoop as we called it. However, if MiX just decides to Wild Swing, gets a block, has ample armor with the defend boost. So yeah, Fakey will get out of the corner, move himself wherever he wants. Probably doesn't want to be too far away just because he's up against the Mei Lien. Opts for range 2. And then will, of course, put that Rose Toss into play as a +1 power boost. And MiX, of course, just blocking that right up. He has 5 gauge, so it doesn't have enough to exceed and threaten the Raijin Oath right away. MiX just showing us that he has a Raijin Oath and probably just going to be striking here or prepping. MiX, of course, loves to prep. Has 5 cards in hand, so can prep in theory. But then you are passing turn to Propeller with only a +1 power, which is not nothing, but it's not too great either. MiX opting to strike here. This is probably that Cloud Rider Spike mix-up. Oh, actually, no, the Spike is down. So this is probably just Cloud Rider. Unless, of course, it's a mix-up tool. Cloud Rider, of course, with the cross-up property of Advanced 4, also draws a card for some reason. None in gauge, so only 3 power. Of course, this could be MiX just like mixing it up. Haha, there you go. There's your pun for the day. I don't know if I've actually done that one before. And yeah, it is just that Cloud Rider will beat the on-curve cross that Fakey throws. Fakey will take 3. Mei Lien will push herself, or will advance herself all the way to the other side of the board. Fakey opting to prepare in response. Yeah, ton of gauge. MiX finds himself with 6 gauge. I wonder how he's going to use that. Just thoughts for the +2 power for now. Neither of these players have had a chance to exceed yet. Mei Lien's gauge is often better spent on the Raijin Oath when she has 3. However, MiX has 6. MiX has a ton of gauge. Of course, this means that all these options will have +2 power on front side because of Mei Lien's UA. And Fakey, of course, keeping this gauge just to threaten those ultras, which are so. Both of them. I mean, launch is a little specific, but of course, at range 4, it's basically an unbeatable option. Weirdly enough, MiX can't even stand at range 4, without a defend. Actually, not without defend boost. Sorry. What I meant to say is MiX can't stand at range 4 unless he has the EX with which he can initiate. Weirdly enough, that's just like a weird matchup quirk that I didn't even notice. The fact that Raijin Oath cleanly loses to Launcher in a lot of scenarios. Maybe Fakey's labbed this matchup before. Who knows? As the tech comes out from that +2 power back to Mei Lien, who finds herself with a little bit of a life lead and has a decent amount of gauge as well. So we're not gonna call advantage Propeller just yet. If anything, it's probably advantage Mei Lien, especially with all this setup. But you know, things could definitely change. Fakey finds himself without that key EX Saber Launch option after the reshuffle as well. MiX boosting defend. Of course, the deck pressure is actually kind of on Propeller here, because of the boost on Halberdier, of course. Not Halberdier, Fujin Drum. As the cannonball comes out, could this be cannonball into launcher, or could this be not cannonball into launcher? It's an interesting mix up there. The first time that Fakey represented this option, it was the quote unquote obvious launcher, but maybe it's not this time around. Looks like it's gonna be the focus played from Mei Lien into the full broadside. There's the mix up. Mei Lien will take 5. Focus was not stunned, so we'll draw a card. Uh, 8 power over 3 armor is 5 damage. Did Focus draw? Okay, yep. They got the draw right away. Unfortunately, no gauge for that launcher, so this this Raijanoth looks pretty free right now. It isn't even an EX Raijanoth. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with the full broadside there. And yeah, it is the EX Raijanoth. So while the full broadside looked cool, it's just the fact that Mei Lien had a counter answer because the Fakey did not leave himself with enough gauge, which is really unfortunate. Mei Lien, of course, has to be a little bit judicious with what gauge she uses because, of course, that second copy will have additional range on it. So yeah, Mei Lien pops the Assault in there, pops the Dragon Thrash in there. Thinking about the Cloud Rider, surely it's could even be the Raijin Knife at this point. Just get a Speed 8 option in there. Of course, especially when you see that focus drop like that. No, Mei Lien actually opts to put a block in there. It says, okay, I'd rather have this Raijin Knife do 2 damage and be lethal. Rather than be a range 1 to 2 option. Fakey opting to strike here at range 4. I wonder why. I wonder what the purpose of the EX Raijanoth was over the regular Raijanoth. With only 1 gauge, of course. And wow, nicely done. The headwind gets bopped by the headwind gets sorry, not bopped, but meets the Wild Swaying Dragon Thrash, so that headwind misses as well. Back to Mei Lien. And that cross will beat the Assault at least. Although Propeller now finds himself at range 5. And that's just very sad. I wonder what the purpose of EX Raijanoth was over regular Raijanoth. Right, because... Oh, you know what the purpose was? It was for Swoop. So Swoop is, of course, a Fireball Dodger, which we saw Fakey pull earlier. I believe he pulled it against Polter. To dodge the Ulrich's Fireball. So yeah, that EX Raijanoth, very well spotted by MiX, of course, to beat the Swoop, which would auto-dodge the, not auto-dodge, which would dodge the Raijanoth. So that's why MiX had to unfortunately spend the EX, couldn't go Raijanoth into Raijanoth, but that's okay. Looks like a parry coming out after the prepare, and the parry misses, so we have a very well-known hand here of 0-1-0-2-7, Headwind, Propeller, Pull, and 1 of each Ultra. Unfortunately, not enough gauge for those Ultras. And I believe there's 1 copy left of Focus left in MiX's deck as well. So yeah, this while that full broadside looked very cute, unfortunately, the amount of gauge which Fakey had was actually kind of the stopgap from this Raijanoth, right? Fakey needed to have 2 gauge in his basically Fakey needed to have 2 gauge at all times, and that wasn't the case. Boosting power range 5 means basically, I mean, this is the only range 5 option that hits, I believe, is that cannonball, and Mei Lien just gonna strike directly into it. It's the block, and yeah, that Fujin drum, I believe there's 1 copy in the discard because it was boosted with Tempestuous, so yeah, that +2 power will just not do anything, just gets teched out basically. That second gauge is built for launcher, but don't really know how that's gonna help. Instead, looks like a Jetstream's getting boosted, +1 speed before pull 1 or 2. Gets teched immediately. Hand is known now for Mei Lien. We take a look at this hand. 4, 6, 7 Cloud Rider and EX Dragon Tempest. So nothing hits. Actually, no, something does hit at range 5. It's this dive. Because this card was teched. MiX actually cleverly enough saving that EX dive for until like he really needed to tech. Of course, Jetstream is just a really, really good boost to tech. I like that. I like that from MiX a lot. I actually do that as well now. When I feel like the TTS hasn't given me enough of a shuffle, I'll just group all my cards, hit G, and then shuffle them like that, and then draw them. Good shuffling tech from MiX here as we move back to Fakey. who finds himself at range 5 with 2 HP left, down 1 block, if not both of them. And at range 5, you know, Propeller doesn't really have a whole lot. He has the Fireball. Unfortunately, the Fireball loses to Dive, so Propeller's going to have to move in at some point, I'm assuming. And while I think the swoop is cute, it's not gonna happen. Looks like the Private Reserve coming out, bring that Jetstream back with that +1 speed before pull 1 or 2. So on the speed curve, basically, while this looks like, or I guess without knowing about the speed curve, this doesn't look like a really good boost. It's like, hey, why does this boost cost 1? But that before pull 1 or 2 really means that this is kind of equivalent to a higher speed boost than just +1. So if you're wondering why a boost like this would cost 1 instead of 0, it's just because that pull effect is quite good. It looks like Mei Lien will spend 3 gauge to exceed. We can take a look at our exceed side. Look at this. Just absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. There's no... Come on, man. Come on, guys. Come on. So cards in that discard that Mei Lien spent will have +0 to range instead of +0 to 1 range. And of course, these two attacks will have +4 power randomly. Fakey finds himself at range 5, will probably have to move in, and yes, spends the launcher as fly up to move to any space, moves to range 1. Unfortunately, this does mean that he's now looking down the barrel of a 5 power Raijin Knife. I don't believe Raijin Knife was in hand. I don't remember. I feel like Raijin Knife was not in hand. But yeah, Fakey just saying this is my best shot. Got to be at range 1, because if you find yourself far away at range 4 or 5, anything from Mei Lien will just randomly hit you because balance. Anyway, back to MiX now. Interestingly enough, actually no. I was about to say, is there a world where Mei Lien can deck out Propeller Knight here? 6 in hand, 2 in deck. And MiX certainly going for a line like that. Boost cross, running away and moving to range 3. Forcing Propeller to have to move in. Looks like a reading coming out here. This is probably the best shot that Propeller has. Reading is successful. That Grasp will beat out, or that EX Sweep will beat out the Grasp. I'm assuming that they've got it under control, that there's no, I was going to check to see if the Grasp was in here. Actually, I am going to do that just to make sure. Okay, yeah, Grasp was not in there, so yeah, Grasp was fine. Of course, if Grasp was in the discard for some reason, this Grasp would hit 1 to 3 and would have beat the EX Sweep clean. Fortunately, this EX Sweep will probably not matter because this card is probably just threatening to win the game here. So while it was a good play, unfortunately MiX had a little bit too much HP. And I'm assuming this is just a random option that just wins. I don't remember. I don't think there are any armored options left in Propeller's deck. And even if they are, I feel like Mei Lien's not getting hit back. It's probably something like a cross. I believe we did spot 1 cross in there. Oh, the block gets wild swung into the Dragon Tempest. Okay. Unfortunately, Mei Lien now pushes Propeller to range 7. Propeller will opt to take 1 damage. Of course, that Dragon Tempest only has 3 power on it. Mei Lien is forced to advance, but will probably only advance 1, surely. Well, actually, advancing 1 means that that second Cannonball could be a thing. And can Mei Lien deal with the second Cannonball? She needs to have something in hand to deal with that Cannonball at range 6. So maybe range 6 is not the correct range, as MiX looks like he is checking the options to see. Propeller has only 4 options left in Launcher, Dive, Propeller, Pull, and Swoop. So unfortunately, none of those, no Cannonball. MiX says, okay, I'll stay at range 5. Range 5 also fine because nothing hits at range 5 from Propeller. This is gonna be tough. This is gonna be a tough win for Propeller. Because Fakey's almost assuredly just gonna have to move in. You can't really strike with swoop or dive because you're just gonna get swept or focused or what have you. I guess in theory you could initiate with a swoop, but I don't think that's happening. I think it's gotta be, you could boost launcher and move to range 1. But if you move to range 1, then you're dealing with threats like Raijin Knife. Interestingly, Fakey boosts that Jetstream 3-card hand with which to deal 4 damage to Mei Lien. Of course, that hand is swoop, dive, and launcher. This is the second reshuffle, gets teched immediately by MiX. And now what can you do with this hand? We have 3 cards left here from Fakey before he decks himself out. So let's do 4 damage to Mei Lien. That Jetstream was a decent answer, but unfortunately MiX had the tech in hand. Is Fakey thinking about striking with a swoop? No, maybe just think about moving to range. So the thing is, once he spends this gauge, that launcher's not going to be in play. And Fakey says, nope, I can't find it. I can't find a solution here against the Mei Lien, who did have that Raijin Knife in hand, so couldn't even stand at range 1. Couldn't stand, basically had nowhere to stand against Mei Lien, because I'm pretty sure this cross hits 1 to 4 as well. So yeah, Fakey just says, okay, I've lost this game. Pretty close game overall, but closer, I'd say this game was further apart than it looked. Because at the end of the day, it was an EX sweep that was red to bring Fakey, or to bring MiX down to 4 HP. So yeah, MiX takes game 1 with the Mei Lien over the Propeller, interestingly enough. Propeller, the only non-S tier cloud character we'll be seeing today. MiX almost assuredly going to be bringing out the Zolt, and let's see if Fakey brings out his own Mei Lien, and he does. So yeah, we're going to see the Mei Lien versus Zolt. I was chatting to MiX a little bit beforehand, and he claims that this matchup is quote-unquote almost fair, so should be an interesting one. The terror from season 1 against one of the terrors from season 2. Of course, the MiX Zolt is something that we've seen quite often, both on this channel and elsewhere. You know, just where it's like quote unquote, I'd say his classic character that he rolls with. I don't know how he duplicated his character card there. That was pretty cool, I guess. Oh, I guess he just spawned a new bag. Weird. So yeah, anyway, Mei Lien will be going first against Zolt game 2 here. Of course, it's the best of 3 all the way, if I'm not mistaken. So with MiX up 1-0, he only needs to win 1 game with his flagship Zolt against 2 games for Fakey to win the set here. And we have seen Fakey's Mei Lien. We have called it cute in the past. But unfortunately, I think for Fakey, we're going to need a little bit more than cute to win the game, as Zolt Mul 6 has no transforms in that hand. Fresh hand from Zolt. Let's see if Fakey's Mei Lien can force a game 3 here. Parry cross up, standard turn game 1 or standard turn 1 gameplay. No cross up in hand. We see a hand that's looking quite poor here. Which is good because MiX can just kind of get rid of these cards and eventually draws good ones. He has a 1-2-4-7 Gunblaze Whip Crack. Yes, sorry. 1-2-4-7 Gunblaze Whip Crack is the hand. Don't think there's gonna be a cheeky initiation with Whip Crack against Mei Lien. Don't do that. That seems awful. Seems like such a bad play. Don't do it. Is MiX thinking about a reading here? Could read something like a focus and then play that Whip Crack. It's actually not like a terrible play. Nope, MiX says, I'm going to change cards 5, draw 6. Now I have a fresh new hand. Now I probably have transforms to work with in the future. Maybe even have that EX Whip Crack as a response. Yeah, I mean, while MiX does lose a ton of cards, like this is very good for Zolt already. He's already seen half his deck, so surely transforms are coming out in the near future. Back to Mei Lien, who after that turn 1 parry just opts to prep. MiX boost cross, moving to range 1. No EX transform yet, at the very least. But yeah, MiX is on his way to finding those for sure. Cross boosting to range 1, because of course Mei Lien, such a good character at range. You certainly don't want to be wasting eyes here this early in the game until you're exceeded. EX coming out from Mei Lien, so I don't think this is Raijin Knife. What could this be? Like EX Cloud Rider? Could this be EX Sweep? It is the EX Sweep. Called out well by the second focus there. So Fakey will take 3. Yeah, he's just pointing that out. Zolt will take 5. Can move up to 1 with his UA, but chooses not to boost defend instead. Although this does mean that a lot of those options that Hunter of Men likes are down. Oh, interesting EX attack coming out. Is this EX cross up? From Zolt, trying to get some damage value out of that as well. Oh no. Okay, it's EX Assault. So yeah, that Raijin Knife will beat the Armored Guard EX Assault by pushing, and then of course Zolt will close in 2 spaces. Funny wild swing there, working out well for Mei Lien, just random Mei Lien things. Although a speed 8 option is gone for Mei Lien. If once that hits the discard, this will be like a super eye to contest Zolt's eyes, funnily enough. But MiX starting to lose like a lot of those options that make Hunter of Men unbeatable, interestingly enough. I wonder if that will come into play in the late game before the reshuffle. If Zolt even gets hit Hunter of Men, so far MiX having a little bit of a tough time finding those transforms. Loses the EX Assault as well, which is a pretty big key tool for gaining advantage as Hunter of Men. So not the best start for MiX here, actually. We were looking at him saying, okay, he's gone through half his deck. Those transforms will be coming soon enough, but now actually missing some of those key tools that make Hunter of Men so broken. Anyways, it is back to Mei Lien here. Find yourself at range 2, opts to prep at 7 cards. Really nothing better to do there than prep from Mei Lien, I guess. Discards the Dragon Thrash and discards the Cross. Okay. I wonder why he didn't strike with Cross. As Fakey attempts to play a super EX play with 3 cards, but nope. Just plays the standard EX. This could be like EX Cloud Rider, I'm assuming. Nope, EX Assault into the sweep, so at least Zolt gets a little bit of luck going back his way with the Wild Swing. EX Assault, really interesting option there, because Mei Lien's EX Assaults look a lot meaner in cases, you know? They look a lot meaner because they hit a range 4 randomly for 6 speed, but this was just like a quote-unquote normal EX Assault, which doesn't look nearly as mean. So, yeah, I mean, interesting enough, I guess Fakey just thought that was his best option, especially because he prepped the turn before. He felt like he didn't really have a whole lot to do with the hand, so just opts for like a bread and butter vanilla EX Assault rather than the range 4 EX Assault there. Zolt opting to prep, really not finding his transforms, down to 10 cards in deck, and has not found a single EX transform yet. So opts for prep action at 6 cards. Fakey opts to exceed again, so doesn't want to represent that Raijin threat just yet. Prefers the backside UA threat instead, which gives super range and random power. MiX finally finds an EX transform in the form of Whipcrack. Whipcrack's probably the second best Zolt transform. Also finds that Blaze of Fervor, so Zolt can become Hunter of Men here in a relatively neutral state. However, does not have that cross-up transform, which of course, as we state, is like the most important key to Zolt's engine, or rather Hunter of Men's engine, kind of keeping him all topped up there as far as cards are concerned. We're gonna have an EX coming up from Mei Lien. This could be EX anything. Could be like EX Cloud, or Cloud Rider would be the fast option, quote unquote. Could be like EX Halberdier, which would be kind of weird. Nope, it's the EX Grasp, which of course hits 1 to 3, 4 power, pushing Zolt back to range 5. So maybe MiX can't, yeah, so I actually lost my train of thought there. So yeah, MiX opts to exceed right away, as is Hunter of Men. Yeah, and of course MiX forgetting that passive, which of course states that opponents cannot move closer to you, so that EX Halberdier will mean that cross-up can't dodge. MiX now finds himself at range 6 as Hunter of Men, but unfortunately at range 6 against an exceeded Mei Lien. That EX Halberdier, of course, hits 2 to 5 for 5 power. MiX will have to find his way back in. Doesn't even have like the. I mean, I don't think this would be a good option, but doesn't even have the gauge for that regardless. No cross in MiX's hand to boost to move to range 3. Start threatening some eyes, but the problem with threatening eyes is that I believe one Raijin knife is down, so that second Raijin knife hits 1 to 8. MiX opts to boost defend at range 6. Interestingly enough. Of course, doesn't have that ultra threat yet, but is at range 6. Fakey just says, okay, you can't do anything at range 6, let me just prepare. Sorry for tilting the camera like that, by the way. That was very strange and uncalled for. Of course, MiX also losing that cross-up, which we didn't even talk about. MiX losing that cross-up means that that EX transform not on the table. That's actually catastrophic for Hunter Men, in my opinion. That's so bad that he can't get that EX cross-up transform for free with the EX transform mechanic. Action, excuse me, not mechanic. I guess it's a mechanic. But can't get that cross EX transform. That's awful. That's so bad. Hunter Men can do it without cross up, but Battle Fugue is just so. We say it every single time when we see his ults. Battle Fugue is just so important to the game plan for Hunter Men, in my opinion. That the character is really the character's almost fair without Hunter Men. So this is gonna be a range 6 strike. Of course, nothing hits at range 6 from Zolt's. So wondering what this is. Mei Lien can toss on random range, but only random +2 range. Doesn't have the gauge for the Raijin Oath either to respond. So is this MiX trying to bait out a dive and Zolt playing a sweep like perhaps? Nope. I mean, it is MiX baiting out something and then just opting to block. That spike will miss, unfortunately, for Mei Lien, because Mei Lien isn't unfair enough that she gets range 6 spikes. She only gets range 5 spikes. I'm actually really shocked to see spike being spent here from Mei Lien. I was kind of hoping that this would be a random 5 damage later. As Fakey opts to just prepare, I believe, at range 6. The onus is technically on Zolt to move in, I would assume. Although Mei Lien can't hit with a ton of stuff at range 6, she can hit with a lot more stuff at range 5. So maybe I'd like to see Mei Lien move to range 5 in the future, because she hasn't built up the 3 gauge yet for Raijin Oath, which does hit at range 6, with 1 copy in the discard. As both players checking the discard here from Zolt, maybe Zolt thinking of a reshuffle? I don't know. I don't know about that. I guess only 3 cards in hand. You don't want to get red at this stage in the game. I believe only 1 focus has hit the can for Mei Lien. So actually maybe a reshuffling is fine here. Like I said, Mei Lien can't really hit at range 6 either. So actually reshuffling seems totally fine here if MiX wants to do it. Nope, MiX says there are threats left in my deck that I want to draw. Maybe eyes, or maybe that second copy of cross up. Just opts to prepare instead, leaving only 1 card left in Zolt's deck. Looks like a reading coming out here. It's going to be like a reading dive into something. I don't know what. Yeah, I mean, that reading threat. Oh no, Cross was the last card. Cross was the last card left in Zolt's deck. So, okay. So what is this? So what is the option left in? So what is Mei Lien trying to hit the cross with then? Is my question. Because we couldn't find anything that hits from Mei Lien. The Fujin Drum, perhaps? Oh, the Fujin Drum hits at range 6. I'm an idiot. But this is not Fujin Drum. Because Cross would go first and miss. So what is this, then? I have no idea what is being struck with here. And it's not the Raijin Oath, because that's unaffordable. Yeah, I have no idea what Fakey's striking. Is he just striking? Oh, you know what? Fakey's just striking with block here. He's striking with block so he can get that second Raijin Oath in play and force MiX to move in more than not at all. Says, okay, this is probably the best threat here. Yeah, MiX is just gonna strike with the cross. I'm pretty sure this is just a block. No, it's the Cloud Rider. Why does Mei Lien want to move to range 3? Wait, and then get hit by the cross. What is going on here? Hunter of Men can execute additional attacks if he wants now, weirdly enough. I think he chose not to. So I mean, I guess that was just a huge mistake there from Fakey. I guess he wanted this closer range so he can hit with that Raijin knife, but gets hit in the process. Don't really know what's going on there. And MiX can in theory threaten Fatal Eye, which MiX can threaten the Fatal Eye, right? MiX obviously can, because he's Hunter of Men, can execute 2 additional attacks. In theory, would like to get that cross-up transformed, I think. I think he would like to get that cross-up transformed. However, he'd have to spend like a Fanatical Purification into the cross-up. Actually, no, Fanatical Purification pushes 2. There's no way for MiX to transform this cross-up. That's so sad. Yeah, there's no way to... Yeah, there's no way to... Oh, you can Gunblaze. You can Gunblaze and then cross up. Will MiX spend the force for it? I think he should personally get that cross up transformed. It's expensive, but it's good. Getting that cross up transformed, in my opinion. It is a little expensive, but yeah, and looks like MiX will be doing that. So 2 extra damage, but more importantly, that cross up gets transformed. Zolt does find himself on the other side of the board, which is unfortunate. Which is actually really, really unfortunate. Because Mei Lien can surely now throw something at range 4 that just wins. I mean, look at this hand. This hand is garbage. 1 Gunblaze left, meaning only 1 Gunblaze left for Mei Lien to deal with. And of course, Zolt doesn't really like using Gunblazes as Gunblazes, right? He likes using them as Seeing Red. So surely Mei Lien has like a random strike here that wins with that +2 maximum range. Just get to see what that is. So yeah, weird play there. Really weird play from Fakey. I mean, not weird, just like a huge oversight and a misplay. Coming out there from Fakey, allowing Zolt to get that 3rd transform down. That's a huge mix up, or mistake. Excuse me, not mix up. Getting my words mixed up there a little bit. A huge mistake there from Fakey. Although, at the end of the day, Zolt does find himself at range 4, so a free strike coming here from Mei Lien should she choose to take it. We did MiX gain advantage. Oh, wait, no, it's MiX's turn, because it's Fakey's reading. Of course, yeah, it's MiX's turn. So yeah, MiX boosting heightened reflexes, move 1, take another action, and then striking with the Fatal Eye, probably putting power on it if I had to assume. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 power Fatal Eye, 1 to 3, 6, 8. And that's not a bad looking stat line. And MiX will be drawing a card off Battle Fugue. Doesn't even need to tack on more after that as well. I mean, 1 to 3, 6, 8. What are you gonna do against that? Well, Wild Swing block. Wild Swing block's one thing to do. Amazing. Yeah, I mean, I guess you just Wild Swing block to deal with the 1, 3, 6, 8. Now that Fatal Eye, that second Fatal Eye also stuck in Gauge. That second Fatal Eye stuck in Gauge because the draw, because of the draw off the Battle Fugue, forces Fatal Eye to be stuck in the play area, I guess. Technically, it's not in the Gauge yet, but stuck in like the play area before beforehand. So yeah, MiX probably not going to be executing any additional attacks if I had to guess. He has all the transforms out, and he has Yoinked Advantage. Has only 3 cards in hand. 2 of them, I believe, are 1 copy of each Ultra, and a card that he just drew off the top. And yeah, MiX has to take a turn to prepare. Fakey prepares in response. Back to Zolt. Zolt does have 1 Fatal Eye left in the deck, of course. Alongside, you know, the traditional options that gave advantage as well. Probably just going to prep again. Yep, does so. Back to Mei Lien. A little bit closer than she'd like to be, I think. Especially with that EX Grasp down. But yeah, a Mei Lien against a fully set up Hunter Men should be an interesting game there. Mei Lien with 3 gauge as well, so she is threatening that Raijin should she choose to step back at any point. MiX has to follow, absolutely has to follow. Otherwise, MiX will randomly just eat 10 damage. Mei Lien executing a strike here at range 3. Not a ton of options left in Mei Lien's deck. Only 5 here, 4 here. Just going to do a quick count to make sure it's 30. It looks good to me. Yeah, I mean, the problem with Mei Lien is just that so much random things will hit here. I wonder if Fakey's maybe taking a bet that an eye hasn't been drawn yet. I believe 5 cards have been drawn off the top for Zolt, so like a 20, somewhere between a 20 and 25% chance that Zolt has drawn his second eye. I wonder if Zolt plays it here too, because the thing is, it'll just randomly lose to the Raijin Knife. Maybe that's a setup, actually. Just a Raijin Knife for Mei Lien, pushing Zolt back to range 5. Wonder if Zolt just plays a focus here to counter that, if he has one in hand. MiX really shuffling his hand here. Thinking about what he should play. Definitely that second Raijin Knife is the big threat here from Fakey. Just for positioning, like range 5 is so good for exceeding Mei Lien. MiX choosing to play on-curve Assault, which will of course lose to the cross. I'm assuming they're just checking to make sure that there's a cross in the discard, which I'm sure there is. Okay, interesting there. In cross, I think it makes sense from Fakey. Assault just trying to call something out. To call out a cheeky play from Mei Lien, like a cheeky sweep, for example. But unfortunately not meant to be. That Assault will take 3 damage, is stunned. MiX now down to 12 HP. And back to him at least, but already also has 1 somersault down, if I'm not mistaken. I think that hit post or not somersault, heightened reflexes. I think that hit post reshuffle too. So heightened reflexes is a really good way for Hunter Men to counter this ranging from Mei Lien. And no, we're going to taxi meta, boys. MiX says, well, you hit pretty far, but do you hit range 8 far? Of course, the answer is no. Mei Lien doesn't. So yeah, this will undoubtedly force Mei Lien to move in, because you probably don't want to be sitting at range 8 against Hunter Men. I guess Mei Lien could prep once and then move in, or you could opt for a reading. Oh no, he's not opting for a reading. Okay. Nope. Mei Lien moves to range 6, where that Raijin will hit. 4 to 6, 10-6 ignore armor. Haven't seen better looking stat lines than that for a while. Let's see. Mei Lien has 3 cards left in deck. Interesting that that Fakey chose to spend a focus. I was thinking maybe that's one way to get MiX in. Just like read like a dive or something. Also get rid of that option for Hunter of Men when he's executing attacks in the future as well. And Hunter Men, actually no, Hunter Men still has a decent amount of cards left. I was about to say, is Hunter Men running out of cards? No, Hunter Men has a decent amount of cards left. Mei Lien, of course, is pre-reshuffle. So yeah, back to MiX here. I wonder what's going on. I wonder why Mei Lien's deck has the normals, Red Horizon alternate, and MiX's deck doesn't. Wonder what's going on there. That's weird. Whatever. I'm sure it's just like a visual glitch or something, maybe because he reshuffled without having these extra cards in there. I don't really know how TTS works that much. But yeah, unfortunately, Hunter Men finding himself at range 6. Yeah, can't move back, buddy. Can't move to the other side of the board. There is no board here. We actually removed those before the match. But yeah, Hunter Men probably gonna have to move in at some point. Can't stand at range 6 against Mei Lien with a Rajanoth in the discard. We've said it so many times, but you really can't. Cannot do that. Not allowed. MiX taking a look at his own discard, only has 2 cards in there, the Ultra and the Assault, which means that the Heightened Reflexes are in deck for MiX with both of them. Yep, MiX spends 3 force to move to range 3. Hopefully that's enough. This is like Raijin Knife range though, but MiX could of course have the focus, which means that he won't hit, but he won't get pushed. And then he would also take turn with Mei Lien's second Raijin Knife down. That would be a really good Yomi play from MiX. Just move to range 3 and then strike with that focus to nullify the threat of the second Raijin Knife. Which for all we know, that second Raijin Knife could just be down, and we're just like not paying enough attention to the game. But I feel like it's not. Mei Lien only has 3 cards left in her deck, so while she is kind of running low on options, basically every option that she will have that plus 0 to 2 range. Fakey thinking about striking here. We'll take a look at MiX's discard, which is relatively flat fresh. We'll strike here. So is this Raijin Knife or not? It's the Cloud Rider, which will get hit by the Gunblaze, and Hunter Men is now in business. Hunter Men is in business because this Gunblaze will hit back, and then MiX will be able to hit back with additional attacks. I'm assuming there's something in his hand that gains advantage for him because it's Assault. Although the thing is, MiX did spend a random Assault earlier. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite him. MiX, of course, spent that random Assault from hand against Fakey's Cross like 4 turns ago. Hopefully that wasn't the only advantage dealing card in MiX's hand. Actually, it doesn't even need to gain advantage because I believe Fake struck. Okay, so it looks like the sweep will be coming out. Just pull an option from the hand. Pulls that Raijin Oath. That's good. No longer have to deal with this until the reshuffle. And says that's good enough for me. I've gotten the value I wanted. Back to Hunter Men now. Hunter Men boosts defend at range 1. Interestingly enough. Okay. Back to Mei Lien. Mei Lien has 2 cards left in her discard. Looks like she's opting for a reshuffle action. So while at range 1, I mean, range 1's the best time to reshuffle, right? Because she loses the range on all of her cards for a short period of time. Is Mei Lien thinking about doing something else other than reshuffling? Is Mei Lien thinking of changing cards, perhaps? Get these options that she wants back into the deck. Forcing the reshuffle that way. The only problem is that that means that reading is such a huge threat from Zolt. I don't know if that's gonna be something that he wants to do. Is Fakey just gonna change cards? Is Fakey changing cards? Changing cards 8, drawing 9, and then we'll discard that known dive alongside another option there. That Raijin Knife was an option, just at the bottom of MiX's deck. So yeah, Fakey's deck, excuse me. So that dive will drop. Fakey will probably drop a second normal as well, or he could drop an option that will give him plus 0 to 2 range later. But yeah, huge change cards coming out from Fakey. I actually like this play better than just standard reshuffle option there. Gets that knife known in hand. MiX just opts to prepare at range 1 with the defend boost in play. It is now back to Mei Lien, who can even strike with like a cheeky dive here. That will move over and will hit. That would be too funny if that's actually the play here. Very risky, mind you. But MiX does not get press the attack, notably, because he's not initiating. So that's like a really cute play. That's a Fakey play as well. That's a Fakey play, striking with dive here at range 1 as Mei Lien. It is, of course, immensely risky. Just striking with the range 1 dive, where with life totals at hovering right around 10 for both sides, but that's a cute play that I really like. That's even more than cute. That's a play I just like. Because I mean, MiX is not going to defend with Fatal Eye or anything, right? I mean, will he defend with Grasp? Maybe he'll defend with Assault with the defend in play. That's a standard range 1 play, is a defend into Assault. Although I feel like we would have... actually, no, we wouldn't have seen the Assault last time because it was Fakey's initiation. Fakey initiating 100 men quite often, actually. This is his third initiation into 100 men. Let's see if MiX is prepared to call out the dive. Although the dive... dive will hit if... Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, dive will hit 1 to 3, obviously. I was about to say, just has enough defenses to pop the defend boost from MiX unless he plays an EX, but who cares? It's dive, right? If MiX plays something nice and slow, then that dive will pop over and deal and not get hit back either. So let's think about wild swinging here. Down to 11 cards. It plays the focus. Is this the dive? Oh no, it's the Raijin Knife. Oh no, it's all gone wrong. Fakey will take 4. MiX takes nothing. MiX draws a card. That focus hits. He can do more damage here. I think he will because 100 men can regularly do like 6 damage off the combos. So yeah, we'll pull a sweep. Pulls the sweep. I'd honestly think about doing one more here as Hunter of Men. If he doesn't have the damage, but looks like he does. Of course, MiX can initiate with the Mad Dog here, giving him +1 power. Is down, or of course, Fakey also down a Raijin Knife, so that second eye is looking quite safe as well. Hunter Men says, no, I'll just prepare here. I've diffused the threat of the Raijin Knife. I would have been so hyped if that was the dive there from Fakey. But no, Fakey finds himself at 6 HP to Mei Lien, to Hunter Men's 9. And finds himself at range 1 as well, which is not the... You know, if we had a list of optimal Mei Lien ranges, 9 would not be... Or 1... First of all, 9 is not on the board. I guess range 9 is the appropriate range if you're fighting against Mei Lien, because you're on another board playing someone else. But no, range 1 is definitely not the appropriate range to be... Or like not the quote-unquote best range to be at against a Hunter of Men. Could this be... So obviously, second Raijin Knife is the quote probably the main threat here at range 4. Range 1, excuse me, against 100 Men. Does MiX believe that Fakey has drawn the second one? Of course, this is one of those mix-ups where it's just naturally created by your deck, depending on what you've drawn. So has Fakey drawn, like, a dive? Has Fakey drawn the second Raijin Knife? And he has. Oh no. That second Raijin Knife, of course, will do 5 damage, because that first one hit the gauge. Which pops the Seeing Red. Oh, man. MiX will draw 6 cards. MiX will draw 5 cards and take another action. So, yeah. Wow. That's that Raijin Knife forcing Zolt to be under 6 HP, excuse me. Which means that second Gunblaze gets full value, or almost full value. I mean, gets more than enough value because he gets to take another action. Heightened Reflexes will come in, putting Zolt back at range 3. Now that Eye is just a dominant threat. Looks like MiX is going to be boosting for +1 power and +1 speed. Playing this Eye will be a 1 to 3, 5, 8. It's not a bad looking stat line. 1 to 3, 5, 8 is what what Hunter Men is throwing out there. Beat this. Okay, I guess Hunter Men thinking that no, okay, opts for reading instead. We'll just read something random. We'll read the Grasp, and yeah, that is game. Congratulations to MiX, who will take the set 2-0. Mei Lien over the Propeller, and the Hunter Men beating Mei Lien. So commiserations to Fakey, who had a good tournament run, but unfortunately it's over. MiX, probably the number one player in the tournament, if I had to guess. We'll move on to the finals, where he will face J2SO in undoubtedly another Mei Lien extravaganza. Although we did not get the Mei Lien mirror that was promised in this set, we are probably going to get it in the next one. But yeah, GG's called by Fakey, who will take tied for third with Chica, with MiX moving on to the grand finals, where once again he will face J2SO in a best of 3 match. I don't remember if the finals are best of 5, but congratulations to MiX once again. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Been a little bit of a while since I've did a commentary. I realize now that I still haven't done the round 3 match between MiX and Shelby. I'll probably get to that at some point. I was supposed to get to it 2 weeks ago, but I didn't. But yeah, I guess we'll be posting this one now. Yeah, close second game here, but MiX just barely able to pull it out with the Hunter of Men. And of course, with the help of that Seeing Red boost, destroying the whole deck and getting exactly what options he needed to guarantee essentially what was more or less a checkmate. But yeah, thank you so much to you guys for watching. Again, I hope you enjoyed the commentary, and we'll see you the next one. Bye bye.